All right, we're learning the Hachaim in Parshat Tzav. We're in Perek Zayin, pasuk Lamed Zayin. So this pasuk is one of the more famous psukim in the Torah, a very famous drasha that we're going to see from the Gemara. The pasuk says that all of what we've learned up until now refers to the Torah of the carbon Oila, the carbon Mincha, the carbon Chatos, and the carbon Asham, and the carbon for the opening of the Mishkan, which is called the Miluim, right? The 8 days that Moshe Rabbeinu inaugurated the Mishkan was called the Shmoina Yemei HaMiluim, and the carbon of the Shlamim. Hachaim quotes a famous Gemara in Menachos. It's found in Avodah Zarah also, that Avram Avinu told Hakadosh Baruch Hu that it's when the Beis HaMikdash is around, we can bring a carbon to forgive ourselves for Averas. But what do we do when there's no Beis HaMikdash? So Hashem said, when you learn the halachas of the Oila, of the Mincha, and the Chatos, and the Asham, and you learn the Psukim, and the Gemara, and the halachas, I will consider it as if you brought the Karbonos, and that will be Mechaper, that will forgive Klal Yisrael on their Averas. Hachaim now is going to take it a step further, B'derech Remez. The pasuk seems to indicate that the benefits are only for learning about the Karbonos. Hachaim actually says that the whole pasuk of pasuk Lamed Zayin and Lamed Ches is actually an allusion to the purpose of us learning Torah. What is the function of learning Torah? So obviously the main function of learning Torah is to know the halachas, right? We're learning Hilchos Pesach to know what we're allowed to do on Pesach and what we're not allowed to do on Pesach. We learn Hilchos Shabbos, Hilchos Eruvin. Right now in Daf Yomi we're learning about Bava Metzia, the halachas if you find an item. We learned Bava Kama. But there are many Gemaras that are really not directly applicable to specific halachas. In addition, even the halachas and the Gemaras that we learn that teach us actual halachas, there's a secondary objective. The Hachaim actually says this is the main objective. Now, in order to understand this, we have to give an Hakdama. We have to give two Hakdamas. Introduction number one is that every member of Klal Yisrael has a part of Hashem in him. That's called the Neshama. The Neshama is a chelik of Hashem. In addition, the Torah is a chelik of Hashem. So when we speak and we learn and we verbalize the words of the Gemara, the words of the Chumash, we're actually introducing on a spiritual level, Ruach, Hashem into the physical world. Right? That's the best way I understand it. There's obviously much deeper meanings to it, but the simplest way to explain it is that when we say the Torah, because the Torah is Hashem, and we have a chelik of Hashem, we are introducing Hashem into the world. We're introducing Kiddush into the world. Now, what does that do? That does a few different things. Number one, it allows the world to function. The world needs to function through Kedusha. Everything in the world can only exist because of Kedusha, of holiness. Holiness, Kedusha is the fuel that runs the world. Right? Different parts of the Torah fuel different parts of the environment. For example, I'm just giving this as an example, when you learn Hilchos Kilayim and Zerayim, that revolves around plantings and earth and trees. Logic will tell you that that has fuel, that gives the environment the ability to produce fruits and trees and seedlings, and gives it the power to grow, and so on and so forth. Now, with that understanding, we know that when Hashem created the world, in order for Tumah to exist, the Yetzer Hara, Hashem, for reasons known to Hashem, says the Hachaim, gave the Yetzer Hara and the Tumah a set amount of Kedusha. The Kedusha is the fuel, is the energy that allows the Tumah to exist. Without it, it couldn't exist. That's one of the reasons that the Yetzer Hara tries for us to do an Avera. When we do an Avera, we introduce Tumah into the world. That's not Kabbalah, that's a Rambam. The Rambam says when a person does Tumah, that actually two things happen. Number one, he violated the commandment of Hashem. And number two, he introduced Tumah into the world. That Tumah captures Kedusha, gives strength to the Yetzer Hara. In addition, when Adam Arishon did an Aveira, as we know that Adam Arishon was made up of all the neshamas of Klal Yisrael, all the 613 root neshamas of Klal Yisrael, the Sitra Achra, the Tumah, the Yetzara, grabbed many neshamas from him. That's how you get the concept of Gerim. That's how you get the concept of people all of a sudden becoming Gerim, and different halachas that come out from that. Now, in order for us, says Hachaim, to get those neshamas back and to get the Kedusha out of the Sitra Achra, we have to learn Torah. The only way to do it is by learning Torah. Torah acts as a magnet, as a force that pulls, that reunites the Kedusha with itself, right? Two Kedushas want to meet each other, right? When you introduce a magnet into an environment, so the metal gets attracted to it. Even if it's far away, the stronger the magnet, the more pull it will have. Same thing with Torah. The more you learn Torah, the deeper you learn Torah, the holier the person is that learns the Torah, attracts the Kedusha to him. As we see throughout history, as Klal Yisrael went to different places in the world, once they finished and they grabbed all the Kedusha from that country, they were then kicked out and they went to the next country. And the prior country that they were in basically never eclipsed its prior greatness because there's no more Kedusha there anymore. There's just enough left in order for it to survive. And the ones that had no more Kedusha no longer exists. As you see throughout the world, the Romans, the Greeks, the Persians, the Babylonians, right, and so on and so forth, and the Egyptians, they no longer exist because the Kedusha that they had was pulled out. Hachaim is now going to show how that's hinted in the Pasuk. So as we explained, that the Torah, by us learning Torah, by us introducing the Kedusha into this physical world, by way of learning Torah, thinking of Torah, verbalizing the words of Torah, the Hevel, the breath, the Ruach of the Neshama that enters into this world, brings Kedusha. And from that, says the Hachaim, allows the Shechina to connect back to its source and to help in the act of reuniting the lost or captured nitzotzes and neshamas that were taken away. So we're going to go now word by word. The pasuk says, "Lachatos la'asham." This is the Torah for the chatos. This, by learning Torah, you reconnect the kedusha that was taken away, hinted by the word chatos. The word asham refers to the neshamas that Klal Yisrael lost when Adam Arishon did the Avera. The word miluim teaches us, like from the word milui, to be filled, that not only the Torah brings back the neshamas, it actually puts it back into its correct place. It fills up the hole where the neshamas were taken from, right? So it's like a two-step process. First, we take the neshamas back, and then the Torah allows the neshamas to go back to its original place. Every chelik of Torah, right, reunites that neshama that's connected to it. That's why if you look, many tzaddikim, many rabbanim had a koyach to learn a specific topic, a specific gemara, specific section, right? The Rambam's koyach was in halacha, the Tur's koyach was in halacha, other chacham's koyach was in agadata, drush, pilpul, because their neshama had the koyach to reunite neshamas that were connected to them. Right? Some neshamas come from the neshama of Masechta Shabbos. So in order to get those neshamas back, you needed somebody to learn Be'iyun and to write Chidushei Torah in Masechta Shabbos, and so on and so forth. That's hinted in the word chatos, asham, and milum. Then the pasuk says ulezevach hashlamim, the ultimate and the final reunification of the neshamas and the kedusha with its original source is when HaKadosh Baruch Hu destroys the Yetzer Hara. That's the word zevach, and shlomim, it will be complete. The last pasuk, the second pasuk that says v'oimrei asher tziva Hashem, that Hashem told us in Har Sinai, the Hachaim tells us that this was clearly the commandment that Hashem told us. The main function of the Torah is You're learning the Torah in order to reunite the Kedusha with its original source. The way it's done is by figuring out halachas, by learning Be'in, by trying to resolve all the doubts. The more a person pushes himself and is ma'ayin deeper into the Gemara, that will help draw out the Kedusha on a much bigger way. And that's what the Pasuk is teaching us. Zois HaTorah. This is the Torah in order to raise up the fallen neshamas, the fallen Kedusha that was captured by the Sitra Achra. As we see many times, all of a sudden somebody becomes a ger. What happened is neshama that was trapped in the Kedusha became reawakened by the Torah that was learned in this area. Otherwise it doesn't make sense. How does a person who's not a Jew all of a sudden decides to become a Jew? Because the neshama that's trapped is reawakened. How is it reawakened? Because people learn Torah. And that's another reason why the Torah has to be exiled throughout the world in order to reunite and to bring back all the neshamas and all the sparks of Kedusha that were captured throughout and spread out throughout the world.